Hey everyone, welcome back. You are listening to 한국어천재 on TBS EFM 101.3 in Seoul and the surrounding areas. Now, before we get to our high-level Korean here and before Professor Daniel comes on in here, I just want to take a moment to remind everyone to stop in order to stop COVID-19. So let's take a minute here to talk about 2 weeks of Seoul City's pause campaign for social distancing. Now, step one here is let's refrain from going outside or postpone any meetings with others. Step two is let's communicate through the phone, internet, and SNS so that you're physically away but still maintaining contact with others. And step three, let's focus on personal hygiene by putting on a mask and washing our hands everywhere all the time. COVID-19, we can prevent it together. And if you're in doubt about having symptoms, call and ask 120 or 1339 or your regional health center before visiting the hospital. But I'm sure Professor Daniel here knows all of this, do you not?
I do, but I appreciated the reminder there. Very helpful, right?
Well, it's good to have you back in the studio here. I'm glad to see you.
And it's wonderful to be back.
And we had such a good time last week. I swear, every time I have a great time with all of my co-hosts here, but Professor Daniel's segment is always so fun for me because I get to just learn along with you guys here. There's a lot of things I don't know, and I get to learn it from the best.
Awesome. Let the learning begin. Right.
Well, I feel like we should probably cover for our new listeners, because I see we've had some new listeners in here today. Well, let's just cover what we covered last week here real quick.
Never too late to review.
Yeah, so what was that first one? Last week we were talking a bit about those 영어 속담s, like those kind of idiomatic phrases that we use in English and how they're kind of similar in the Korean versions as well here.
Yes, some very similar ones.
Yeah, so what was one of them that we covered?
So the first one we covered was 불난 집에 부채질.
That's right. And that one, it really image-wise is almost the same, but a little bit more detailed, I'd say, in the Korean
Agreed. Larger than life. Right? So.
Exactly. It's basically saying fanning the flames of the fire there. That's where that 불난 집에, like a house on fire. And then that 부채질 is talking about the fans. You know, the ones with the...
A hand fan.
Yeah, the hand fans. They kind of look like you have a little seashell on them or something.
Gorgeously decorated.
Oh, I love them. Yeah. So you're just fanning those fires or fanning the house on fire. But what was that second one?
Number two is a little longer here. 사공이 많으면 배가 산으로 간다.
That's right. And this one, it's not exactly the same in terms of like direct translation.
Agreed.
But the meaning was just as clear, I felt, with this one. What was this again?
So too many oarsmen or too many oarswomen end up pushing the boat towards the mountain where you don't want to go. So
exactly. It's just like, in English, we often say, or at least my grandma would often say, like, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen, right? So, yeah.
Just too many opinions. Nothing's getting done.
Exactly.
Just some people need to leave here.
Avoid that gridlock. Right?
Exactly. So. Now, what was the third one we covered?
Oh, this is a cute one. So, 우는 아이 쫓준다.
That's right. Just the image of this. So like a crying baby gets the, I don't want to, can I say nipple on
sure,
here?
Right.
You know?
I don't see why not. Or gets nursed.
Gets nursed.
Suckled.
Yeah, that's a great way. It's kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
totally,
I guess.
Yes. The person who shouts loudest gets heard, right?
Exactly. So, here. I witnessed this a lot in my daily life here.
Everywhere, exactly. Around the world, right? So,
And then finally, this last one here, what was that?
Oh, this is my favorite. So, 3살 버릇 80가지 간다.
That's right. This one also was one I really loved. And it's quite often used. You'll see it on a lot of tests as well. So I feel like if there's out of these any that you might want to take with you, this would be a good one. It comes up a lot on any of those Korean exams.
We won't mention any names.
Yeah. But you'll see them quite a bit here. But it's talking about those old habits dying hard.
Exactly. And specifically referring to a habit that you pick up when you are only 3 years old will follow you till you're 80. So
I just love the Korean always just gets a little more in-depth, a little more visual, a little more detailed.
Exactly. So an upgraded version of the English phrase there, right? So.
Exactly. And that's why today I'm really excited to have us introduce you guys a couple more here because these are also going to be a lot of like commonly used 속담s, but these are going to be completely different than the English ones, I feel like.
So the ones I wanted to go over today are, I would say, uniquely Korean. Like, yes, there's a matching English phrase, but the kind of framework, the visual representation is totally different.
Yeah, like we'll have to break these down a little bit for you guys just to get the meaning across on them here. So what's this first one?
Okay, so we have 개천에서 욕 난다.
That's right. So that 개천 there, we're talking about like a stream, right?
A little
or
stream, yeah.
Like a little creek, a little brook that's going through there. Just picture like in the countryside, those little tiny meandering sort of streams.
Near a valley. When
Yeah.
you go
I love
to a 계곡 for your summer vacation, right?
Exactly. So here, our PD님 here sent a message. He's like, well, you can kind of think of like the 청계천 here.
I love the 청계천.
I do
like,
too.
Walk from like Gwanghwamun all the way to Dongdaemun. Gorgeous views, great place.
Well, that's my stomping grounds. That's where I live. So I get to see the 청계천 every morning when I go to work.
Right.
But yeah, that's another type of stream here. So if you are living in Seoul and you're familiar with the 청계천 or maybe the 안양천, there's also the 양재천. There's a lot of different streams and brooks here also in Seoul that you can go visit. But it's saying 용난다.
So from a little tiny stream or a brook, we get a dragon.
Like out comes a dragon. What?
Unexpected, right?
So, okay, when I first learned this, I had no idea what to associate this with.
Agreed. I was like, dragons? What are we talking about here? Right. So
I like. Could you break this down for our listeners?
Sure. Okay. So if by saying that a dragon emerges from a small stream, you're saying that great people come from the unlikeliest of places.
Okay, I kind of understand here because you're picturing this visual of like a countryside stream out in the middle of nowhere, but
Very
then
picturesque.
yeah, but then this great, enormous, because dragons were very important in culture here in a lot of
Symbolic creature.
yeah,
Right, so.
and so this great dragon comes out of this tiny little stream in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of giving that impression of like the pauper becomes the prince? Sort
Exactly.
of thing?
Kind of an oxymoronic story of someone starting out small and becoming great.
Is it kind of similar like from rags to riches in a way?
Bingo. That's a good one. Yeah. Rags
Okay.
to riches, pauper becoming a prince. Right?
Yeah,
Princess.
I can picture that here. So a lot of times, like I would say, if anyone here likes K-dramas, the best thing you can equate this with here is there was a drama that came out called 이태원 클래스, and there was a character named Park Se-roy, and he came from like a small, tiny town in the middle of nowhere. Not really, he just wanted to build a little tiny restaurant, but became a big business owner, and that could be kind of that situation.
Perfect rags to riches story.
Yeah, so I kind of like that one there. But what's the second one we have?
Okay. Number 2 here. 굿이나 보고 떡이나 먹지.
All right, I really struggled with this one here. I just need you to take the lead on this.
Gotcha. Okay, so a gut here is a kind of celebration you'll see when a new store opens or at maybe traditional festivals and stuff. So take in or watch a gut or have some rice cakes. So why not have some rice cakes? Now, what does that mean, though? That I'll let you guess at here.
Okay, so if I can visually break this down in my head, you're just like you're watching some event happening.
You're at a party.
You're watching this thing here, and then this ina here is not saying no, like or. This is kind of that feeling in like just eating something. Like
Why
just
not?
why not do it? So it's kind of like since you're watching, why not eat this dog?
Exactly. Take in a show, have some rice cakes while you're here, right? While you're watching.
And I feel like if I could give any sort of inkling to what this is, like kind of the meaning, it's kind of like you're not actively doing anything in this. You're just watching and enjoying.
Totally. And watching from the sidelines, I would say. Yeah, you're not an active participant per se, but
So
you're there.
is this like a good meaning or is this like a bad sort of feeling to it?
That's a good question. I would say probably the latter, ever so slightly negative. Maybe you're not playing a leading role here, but you're still there. Yeah.
But you get to reap the benefits of everyone else's work there.
Exactly.
So yeah, we some of these here, it can, I guess there are certain ways you can play it, but this one leans a little more towards the negative kind of feeling. But then we have this next one here, which
sure do.
I really like this one.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, lots of imagery here. So number 3 is 남의 잔치에 감 놔라. 배 놔라 한다.
That's right. So I love this one, you guys, because 남의 잔치에 감 놔라 배 놔라 한다 is talking about like another person's party.
Party, 잔치 here.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we actually learned this in our headline from, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. We talked about name is being like another person's...
Someone else.
Yeah, someone else is saying. So someone else's party here.
Exactly.
And you're like saying, put the persimmons over there. And
Pears
put the
over here.
Pears over here. And just like you're like being the leader of someone else's party.
Exactly. Trying to call the shots on someone else's show, right? So
I'm just picturing like there is no way this is a good thing at all.
exactly. Very negative here. So yeah.
I'm just picturing like having a party, like having some like 집들이 or like a 돌잔치 or something, and like some person comes in and is just like, you need to do this and how dare you do that and blah blah, and you're just kind of like, I'm sorry, who are you?
This is my party. Right?
Can you not? So yeah, this is definitely one of those like negative, you're kind of butting in someone else's business.
Exactly. And the term like nam, you'll see used everywhere in Korean. So to refer to someone else.
It's very polite, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Unless like, 우리 이제 남이다, like someone that you were close to, but you're not close to anymore, could be used in a negative light as well.
Oh boy. So we got to be a little careful on that there, I guess. But we've got this next one as well. Now, what is this one?
Oh, this is a good one. So, 뭐로 가도 서울만 가면 된다.
Okay, so, all right, I'm going to try to do my best with this here, you guys, because Moro is kind of talking about when you're going, like, kind of diagonal, like, not in the correct path. It's kind
Off
of like,
on a detour.
Yeah, like, 비틀게, like, you're kind of, like, going off not the direct way. Like, you're not going straight. And so, even though you're not going straight, you're kind of going off, as long as you go to Seoul, it's okay.
Exactly. So Seoul, what does Seoul represent here?
Well, it's kind of like the hubbub of everything here. Seoul is like the place everybody wants to be because there's so much opportunity here.
Exactly. The center of the nation, right? So, yeah.
And so but like, see, I struggle because what could that be here in terms of the English equivalent? Do we even have one? What would we kind of associate that with?
Sure. Well, I mean, even if you take a detour, as long as like the result is okay, I would say what comes to mind would be all's well that ends well. So.
Yes. Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah. Because it's kind of all about the ending result, right?
Getting to Seoul. Exactly. Getting to where you need to be. Right?
It's just as long as you got there, you know, you did good. You did good, buddy. So I kind of like that, though. The image-wise of that is quite nice.
It is, yes, I agreed. All roads lead to Seoul, too, right?
Oh,
So,
I love that. All roads lead to Seoul.
not Rome here, Seoul, right? So.
Now, we do have two more here. And this next one, it's simple, but it's very, I want to say, visually accurate.
Agreed, and hard to interpret as an English speaker, at least.
Yeah.
So number 5 is 병 주고 약 준다.
So it's funny here. This 병, we're not talking about like the glass 병. We're not talking about
glass
a bottle.
Yeah.
No, this 병, we're talking about diseases, right?
Disease, yes, some type of 아픔. Right? Yeah.
So if you guys would like to work this out on your own for a second, I'll help you out here with the words. This one is, we have 병, which is disease. So 병 주고, 주다 is to give. And then 약 준다. 약 is like medicine or like a treatment, I guess, you know, you say. So if you guys had to guess here, I'll give you just a minute, but we're basically talking about toying with someone.
We
here.
sure are, exactly. So someone is causing you trouble and then helping you out. I mean, why even start? Like,
Exactly. It's like, you're the one messing with me. So here, if we directly translate it sounds like they give you the disease, but then they also give you the medicine.
Exactly. So disease plus cure. It's a package, right?
Exactly. Oh, we got a message in here actually from 순수 누나. Hi, 순수 누나. Daniel, would you like to read it here?
Sure. 오늘 주제가 속담이에요? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, it's
Bingo.
been 이번 달 주제는 속담입니다.
Don't worry, we will cover something else next week, right?
Yeah, we've been covering 속담 for the past like 3 weeks here, so we'll knock it out of the park next week too with some more 속담 for everybody. But yeah, so as we were saying here, this one is just kind of like you give the problem and you're also kind of giving a little bit of the solution, but like what's the point? You're just, it's circular. You're just toying with that person.
Playing with you, right? So,
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't stand people like this. It drives me crazy. grinds my
Some
gills.
people love doing that too. So.
Yeah, and this last one here. What is this one?
Oh, this is a great one, and you'll hear this all over the place. So 작은 고추가 맵다.
Okay, so this one here, we're talking about peppers.
Yes, we sure are. So.
Yeah, and so as you guys know, peppers obviously can come in all shapes and sizes here, but this one is talking about 작은 고추, and 작다 is the term for small, right?
Exactly. So little peppers, yep.
Little peppers, but they're spicy though.
They pack a punch.
that's-
매운 거죠? Right, so.
Oh, that's always been my biggest thing. I remember we had our guests on the other day, John and Mac. They were here, last week? And afterwards, we decided to go out to eat together.
Nice.
And there was a little bowl that came out with some peppers on it. And in Korea, sometimes you get there's two that look very similar. And one of them is spicy and one of them is not. And poor John thought it was the non-spicy one and took this humongous bite of it. And then the lady was like, no. And
Was it a small one?
it was a small one, and he just started sweating from his eyes, and he was like, I regret my life right now. And so
Couldn't talk for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
you guys, that's the whole point of this here is that these small ones, they may be small, but they are spicy. And in the same way, like that same vein, it's like don't judge someone based on their size
Exactly.
or their...
Diminutive character size, what have you.
Yeah.
And not just people, but this could apply to like a dog as well or some kind of
Situation.
Situation, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like don't underestimate something. I think would be
Exactly.
best to kind of consider it that way there. But I feel like okay, we've covered 6 of them today. So I feel like for anyone who's just tuning in right now, we'll give you like the lowdown real quick from start to finish one more time. We'll review our 6 속담 for today. So what was that first one we got?
Okay, here's the recap. So number 1, 개천에서 용난다.
That's right. And that one there literally is talking about a dragging coming out of a stream. But we would probably interpret it as like from rags to riches or pauper to prince, kind of that sort of storyline.
Total transformation.
Yeah. So what was that number 2 we had one more time?
Number 2, 굿이나 보고 떡이나 먹자.
And that is that kind of, so again, not direct translation here. It's kind of saying that as you're watching this kind of event, whatever it may be,
Exactly.
You're just kind of eating some tok on the side. So it's basically that feeling of watching from the sidelines.
Exactly. Standing on the sidelines, watching from the sidelines. You're
Yeah.
not playing the main role.
Exactly. And then this third one, what was it again?
남의 잔치에 감나라 배나라 한다.
That's right. And that's like, when you remember you guys, we covered this here. Name is like another person. And then that 잔치 is talking about a party. So at another person's party, you're telling them, put the persimmons there, put the pears over there, which is just basically being a know-it-all, butting into everyone else's business.
Very bossy.
Yeah, bossy, calling all the shots. Just not a good thing. And then that number 4, what was that?
Nice easy one here. 뭐로 가도 서울만 가면 된다.
That's right. And this one here was just saying it doesn't matter the direction that you went, as long as you go to Seoul, that's great here. And so it's just kind of like all's well that ends well.
As long as you get there.
Mm-hmm. And what was that 5th one we had?
Nice easy one. 병 주고 약 준다.
Oh, yeah. That's you're toying with somebody. You're giving them the disease, but you're also giving them the treatment, the medicine for it. Like, what are you doing? Stop playing. And finally, this last one here, which I feel like Yuki here has a comment, says, it's like, don't judge a book by its cover. What was that again?
Oh, 작은 고추가 맵다.
That's right. And I feel like Yuki, that's a great way to think of it there. Like, don't judge outward appearances.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking it. Thank you so much for that comment there. But as you guys know, we can't have Professor Daniel leaving without doing his best Oscar-winning performance here on the show.
We'll give it my best, right?
So let's take a listen to our movie clip for today.
어차피 대중들은 개 돼지입니다. 그럼 뭐하러 개 돼지들한테 신경을 쓰시고 그러십니까?
Oh my goodness, do you need me to be your background rain? I'll be
Sure.
your-
A little BGM here, right?
Yeah, can I do some ASMR background rain for you? In the back. All right, let's give Daniel his best shot here.
Great. 어차피 대중들은 개 돼지입니다. 그 뭐하러 개 돼지들한테 신경을 쓰시고 그러십니까?
Oh my goodness. This is such like a heavy moment in this.
It is. He's dripping with contempt here,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh my gosh. This is not exactly the nicest thing to be saying, but
no, don't recommend repeating this.
no, yeah, don't carry this one with you. But what does this mean here?
Okay, so he says, in any case, 어차피, the general public is is composed of dogs and pigs. Now, is that a positive image or a negative image?
That is 100% negative.
Agreed. So we are talking about the general public, bunch of riffraff here.
And then he's kind of saying at that end, he's like, why do you care so much about what they think, right?
It's a bunch of dogs. It's a bunch of pigs.
Yeah,
Right? So,
and I feel like the only thing I want to like have you guys take away from this is there's three words that we often use, and I'll have Daniel quick break them down here before we have to go. He says 신경 쓰다, which we'll use that oftentimes here. By the way, you got a lovely comment. 현지채 says, 목소리 진짜 대박.
I try.
대박이죠. Brumi says, Professor Daniel, your voice is so clear. How? Because he's a pro, you guys.
and coffee, right? So, yeah,
That's
right.
it. But if you could quickly, just for our listeners, what is the difference between 신경 쓰다, 걱정하다, and 걱정되다?
Okay, so 신경을 쓰다 here, and it's often used like 신경 쓰지 마세요, like don't worry about that, don't concern yourself with that. So just a general sense of concern, a general sense of maybe worry. Whereas 걱정을 하다, that's somebody being worried. So the active sense of being concerned or being worried. And then 걱정을 되다 would be some issue that's making you or making somebody kind of worried.
Like
so.
a passive sort of thing. It's causing you to be worried there.
Exactly.
So this guy is talking more about why are you concerned? It's not like a worry. It's just like, why are you even concerning yourself with that?
Don't worry about him.
Yeah, don't even bother. It's not worth your time. Ooh, gosh, that is a hard way to end the show here today. But you knocked it out of the park, Professor.
Thank you. Always fun, right?
It's such a pleasure to have you here. And it was such a great time with my genies as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.